Cam right now. Yes, we are live. Live on IG and YouTube. Thank you very much for joining me on Talk Talk Live. Yes, sponsored by Dun Talk, DUNTALK.com. Spring Summer Line off now. I really like this one. This is the new Spring Summer Line basketball. I turn around. I'll turn around. There you go. It has the new basketball line on it, and it is quite spectacular for the spring and summer. Thanks to Dun's Talk for sponsoring this program. And we are back. We are live. How are you all? Happy Easter to you all. Hope you had a great Easter. Hope you had a great Easter. I did. I know I did. Was with family, and also got out to do a few things. Shout out to the Toronto Revelers. They had their band launch this weekend. I was there this weekend and got a few shout outs there, and I'll be producing some on Instagram and on YouTube and on TikTok as well. Some of the footage that I got there. But yes, we are back. We are live on Talk Talk Live. How are you all enjoying yourselves? I appreciate you being here with me tonight on this this interesting topic night. And it was. But again, shout out to Toronto Revelers for putting on a great show. They are gunning for top spot. They came second last year. They came second in the best bands in the Toronto International Carnival, if you did not know, or as we call here, Caravana. And they're shooting for number one. A lot of their costumes were really, really nice. It was a really fantastic evening filled with family and friends. And I'll be producing those pictures again on the Instagram and TikTok streets very, very soon. So let's get into it. I've already got two people in on this topic tonight. Yeah. We're about to light it up because this is one of those topics that my sisters really get their back up on. And we're going to discuss it tonight. We're going to get into it tonight on Talk Talk Live. So let's not waste any time. What brought my attention to this topic? And the topic tonight is why black athletes go, in certain circumstances, favor white women. Now, let me say this. As a note, as a disclaimer, most black athletes of any ilk would usually take as a wife or as a girlfriend black women. Let that be said. But again, there's an emerging trend, and it has been emerging over the last, I would say, it's really turned up in the last 10 years, but it has been going on for the last 20 to 30 to 40 years. How when a black man has achieved a certain level of status in terms of his sporting career, that he takes on a white paramour or a white girlfriend, a white wife, and have white kids. And unfortunately, we have come to a stage now where it is reaching, I wouldn't say near epidemic, but soon to be epidemic proportions. But what brought my attention was this story brought to us by O'Shea Juke Jackson. I'm going to share it right now live on the browser here on Talk Talk Live. Thank you for joining me on Talk Talk Live. Like, subscribe, comment. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Let me just get the show on right now. Rich, and it's something from his Celebrity Junk series. Shout out to O'Shea Juke Jackson, really lighting up on these streets. He's very much a stalwart in terms of Black Manosphere. Now Hotep talking points, and we're going to talk about this right now. It's in terms of rich black NFL players get hate for having all white women on a yacht. That's about as blunt as it gets. And they're discussing how indeed certain NFL players got a little gone on a yacht cruise with only white women on board. So let us get into it on Talk Live. Thank you very much for joining me on Talk Live here. Like, subscribe, comment. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Let's get into it. Let me move on a little further here.
There are some issues happening with black men that just cannot be denied. And I do understand that every black man does not feel like me. And I don't hold you to my level of thought process. Some of you brothers watch me, you're atheists. Some of you guys are agnostic. Some of you guys are Muslim. I respect what you believe. But also we have brothers out here who are prominent black men, and you see it that some of them, who are quite visible, I will say that, are dating or hanging around white women. We see this with people like Jamie Foxx, Damon, John Legend's wife is like white and Hispanic, and Kanye West.
Oh, she's
So
Thai,
this is
really.
not uncommon. Nick Cannon, at least some of baby mamas is white. And the question is,
And Phoebe Gates. Remember, Phoebe Gates is married to a black man too. There you go.
why?
And that's Bill Gates. Bill Gates' daughter. Yes.
Now let me just say this: entertainers are quite stupid, right? In no way am I insinuating.
Let's get this a little further on.
um, Top 10% in looks and physical attractiveness. Some brothers they prefer a mixed, rich, not a lot of standards, and not a lot of experience. There's definitely there are black women out there.
Let's go.
I will fault him for he had a baby mama that was, I do see that.
There you go.
But now in the case of Jamar Chase, who's one of the guys I was talking about today, he had a baby mama that was black. Now, I will fault him for who he chose. Again, this is being a young black man, rich, not a lot of standards, and not a lot of experience. Because definitely there are black women out there he could be dealing with, right? That would be fairly good for him. But he chose this lady. He's having a lot of problems out of her. And she's talking about she has these videos that could ruin his career. And then he has his buddy T. Higgins, who's a wide receiver. They've recently been seen on a yacht with white models. Nothing but white women on a yacht. Okay? Now, it looks like it's some casual fun. I was on my first yacht with, shout out to Dima. We went to Dubai. But all of these women on this yacht are white. Everybody. Right? And it makes me think, why are none of these ladies black? This is just me. Kyrie Irving also went viral a few years ago for doing something very similar. He had a yacht full of nothing but white women and was quite adamant about, like, hey, they don't tell me what to do. I do what I want to do. Fine. But what is there? Because athletes never explain why they do what they do. I want to take a guess. I know you're not going to like my guess, but that's what I want to do, right? I'm a cultural black critic, so I want to guess. I would say what these guys feel, the average black woman they come across, whether it be on Instagram, whether it be in person, that number one, I would guess the woman would be very attractive for the most part. The women would be willing to engage in, possibly sex or whatever else more. But I also believe that from their interactions with these ladies, that they feel that the ladies are more likely to tell what's happening, and they will be likely to ask for money more often all the time. That's just what I think that they have experienced. I could be wrong.
Now that brings into that. Well, that is a new angle on things. In this Instagram generation, we see a lot more black women would tell a black man's business if he brought her on a yacht or showered her any gifts or any sort incurred any favor with her in terms of his well-to-do lifestyle. If you, in other words, if you put a black woman on a boat, they wouldn't keep it quiet. They would let everybody know. They would take pictures and such. But that could happen to anybody. But what O'Shea was saying here is that you're liable to have your business being told by a black woman than a white woman. Well, and that goes to a point where black women don't know how to act when money is given to them. They tend to brag. They tend to boast. They tend to, not really, keep things at a certain level and have a decorum in order to when giving such things, and a lot of black men are deciding to move away from that. Now, again, that's uh, somewhat of a theory, to be fair, and you know, whether you like it or not, that you can refute said theory, but um, is it out of the question? No, it's not out of the question. It's not out of the question for a lot of black women not only to publicize the fact that they're on a boat with a black guy, but also to use it to their advantage and really try to, you know, take a man for, well, I wouldn't say take the man for what he has, but try to, finesse him and say, okay, well, we did this and this and this on a boat. What are you going to give me in order to, to be on this boat? Where a lot of white girls would just get on there for free. A lot of these black women would rather, would want to be flued out and such, and a lot of white girls wouldn't take said payment. They would just want to just get on the boat. Whether it be fair or not, and these sort of allegations can be refuted. Of course they can. But let's continue.
With regards to these women who are non-black, and I would put everybody in that category: Hispanic, white, Asian. They would experience that. Of course, the women still want money, and they would still engage with sex. But that these women are going to be more or less acting different than what they are accustomed to. Meaning that they're going to be the opposite of Amber Nicole, which is Jamar Chase's baby mama. And they're going to be more willing to at least play the submissive role. They may not be submissive at all, but at least play that role and be more willing to go along with the program.
And that, my friends, is, I think, the heart of the matter. You may get fitness, you may get friendliness, you may get femininity from black women, and I'm sure you do, but the fact of the matter is, in terms of cooperation and submissive, you may not get that. That does not come standard with a black woman. It doesn't come standard. It doesn't. It comes standard with white women, yes, but with a lot of black women, it doesn't come standard. It does not come standard. They will, in a lot of instances, not at all, let me say that, but in a lot of instances, you're going to get a lot of pushback from black women in terms of their place and their role with their men. They'll want to, be partners and this and that, and a lot of these black guys who have money, they don't want that. A lot of high-value men don't want that. That's why you find not a lot of black women taking up with richer white guys, because they're not willing to pay that role, unless the white guys are somewhat simpish in their behavior, and then all the power to them. But that's what black women search for in the first place. They look for simpish guys, especially especially in terms of men with money. But in terms of a high value man, he's not going to take that, and quite simply, he wouldn't take a black woman if she exhibits said behavior. Let's continue quickly.
Black athletes can never come out and say this. This is what I have been seeing. The passports in America have reached an all-time high. People are trying to, this is like, and you're talking about inflation, traveling is still quite expensive, but yet passports, people are talking about it. These terms come up every day, right? Guys are getting away from the United States. Black men are trying to get away from the ladies in the black community. Primary. And I would say this.
And he's right. Once a black, and this is what happens when a black man starts hitting of a professional career. A good percentage of them are trying to taste a flavor that they've never had an opportunity to when they were in high school, especially when they were in predominantly black and segregated schools, because it's still that way in the States. It is. And to be fair, once they get onto the college campuses, you see all these white women there, they want to experiment, and they find that most of these women are indeed, even though they're feminine, they're fit, feminine, and friendly, but they are indeed cooperative and submissive. Ladies. Black ladies, and the fact of the matter is, in this free and democratic society, men are voting with their feet these days. They are. He just referred to passport bros. What are passport bros? They're guys who are looking for feminine, friendly, cooperative, submissive ladies in other states. Once black men get that on college campuses, they usually take that towards their on college campuses, especially in the States. They usually take that into their professional careers. They get a taste of it, and and quite simply, they want that experience to continue. And it happens with a lot of black athletes, not only in North America, but around the world. It's true. Let's continue.
The same for, maybe white men or whatever, but we see it here. It's not that black men don't find them attractive. It's just that the entitlement that some of brothers is going through has pushed them, some of them, to the point where they feel like a change is needed. And it could be that they're choosing the wrong women on an individual basis. I would also say that. But this is what the experience is, I believe, that these guys are having. And don't be surprised if Jamar Chase, the next lady he's dealing with, is white. Don't be surprised. And I want to say that I talked to Dr. Tierson Johnson on my Kingana channel. He's a PhD. Tierson Johnson has one of the most magnificent vocabularies I've ever heard in my life. I mean, the way he can articulate things. That's why he's a PhD, right? I went to medical school, but medical students are not literary masters. It's not what we do. Professional schools do rinse and repeat a lot, right? But PhD programs, you add knowledge to a field that was not there before, which is why PhDs are the ones that write the textbooks for medical school, especially about chemistry, anatomy, physiology, those things. So then talking to Dr. Tierson Johnson, who hung around an academic crowd, he told me something that I'll never forget. He said, O'Shea, all of us were married to African Americans before.
No Sprites here.
What is that?
There are no Sprites.
All of my friends who are remarried.
You got grape and orange, and that's it.
African American wine.
Orange.
All of them who are pro-black have African wives or Caribbean wives. And the one guy even married me.
Okay, well, we're gonna get into that a little later, but again, it's pretty much following along the same lines of quite simply going back to my camera. Sorry about that. Thanks for joining us at Talk Live. We just had a little interruption there, but guys, ladies and gentlemen, it's carrying forward to this day. It's carrying forward for a lot of men who've come into money early. Their dating patterns, their dating pools are widened at this time. Black women are not the only ones on the menu in terms of dating experiences, and if white women have made make themselves very visible, and quite simply, black men like to find that femininity, and they tend to choose these women, not the majority of the time, but a lot of the time, and it's becoming more and more prevalent these days, as you can see. And we're going to get into this into this point. Let's go back into our browser. Yes, indeed. So we have our issue. We expand on this issue here. Hold on. We'll go with Joel Embiid in a bit, because he's been known to be a serial dater in terms of the white space. Let's move here for a bit.
A lot of money that
here we go.
You can just.
But I want to get into. All right.
Hello, everyone. This is.
Well, let's do that. Let's talk to this professional black athletes dating white women. By Ty M. Carolina, and again, I think she talks to it from a black woman's perspective. We always want to get a balanced view here, And what Ty M. Carolina, shout out to Ty M. Carolina, please subscribe to her. She's saying that it's very it's very unfair. It's very unfair for black men to be neglecting black women when they get on and become athletes themselves in many circumstances, because they were there from the time that they were finding themselves becoming athletes and basically making their way in the world. And once they made it, a lot of they shun black women for white women, and she is just speaking on said fears, on said frustrations, quite simply, that black men neglect black women when they become athletes themselves, when they become the professional athletes that they have trained for. So let's get into this here with Ty M. Carolina.
This is Ty Young from Time Carolina Weekly Moments, and I just wanted to answer a question that somebody else had on another site, and it stems from a lot of people saying, why was the son of Ice Cube unfairly criticized for dating white women? And this is not all my opinion, but I want to explain to you why some black women get frustrated when notable and reputable black men date white women. So it's not about being racist. It's not about being jealous. It's the fact that while he was practicing, while he was in high school, while he was doing everything that he needed to do, he was always down for the black chick. We can listen to rap music. We hear the songs about how big my lips are, how my boobs are, how my butt looks. But when it comes down to you making it, you don't choose me. You're not choosing the black girl that was ride or die for you when you couldn't get enough fries in your bag after practice, when you couldn't get a ride home on a daily basis. That black girl that was your ride or die when you were in high school, when you were in college, is not the one you choose to marry. You're not marrying the black woman. So that's why sometimes black women get frustrated when black men date white women. It has nothing to do with jealousy. It has nothing to do with racism. It's the fact that that girl that you were knocking on her door at 2 o'clock in the morning and asking if you could come over, that girl that was giving you rides when you didn't have anything, was there for you. But when it comes time to make decisions, or to make that decision for the rest of your life, that little black girl that you was hanging out with the entire time is not even an option for you. You're not checking for Taisha. You're not checking for the girl across the hood to where you came from to marry. What happens is that we get to see in your Instagram timeline 10 years from now with a beautiful girl with slick edges who's lighter skinned, and you make beautiful mixed race babies. But that girl who was down for you the entire time has no shot with you.
And to be fair, this is a well noted frustration for a lot of black women. Let's face facts. Black women are usually there when black men are making their way up in the world, when they're making their way in the world. And but again, in certain circumstances, let's say like Michael B. Jordan's circumstance, it's a case of black women, calling these certain gentlemen corny in certain circumstances. But we're speaking about black athletes here, and when it comes to black athletes, these aren't usually the corny ones. These aren't usually the ones that are admonished by female peers once they're in school. Yes, indeed. We're going to continue it here on. On Talk Live. We're just going to go back live on IG, which I don't understand why it is cutting out for some reason. It's just cutting in and out on the connection on IG. But in terms of YouTube, we are still live. We are still here. We are still doing our thing. So thank you very much for joining me on Talk Live. I'm just waiting for the, what is going on here? Let's just go back and see if we can change things up here. Just give me 1 second and just... because I know the connection in terms of the... Yes, let's try that. Let's try that and see if that works any better. Because that... Okay, we're back on live on IG. Yes, indeed, we're back live on IG. Thank you very much for joining me on Talk Live on IG. Sorry about the interruptions. I don't know. It seems there is a bit of a technical issue in terms of... Yes, our connection. But here's the thing. I mean, we've been having it great for the last couple of days. But again, we're going to get back to it. So, what were we discussing? We had Time Carolina explain the fact that of explain the frustration black women have when black athletes, you know, get on and move up in the world, and black women not being able to, you know, move forward with them, and it's an issue that is becoming more and more prevalent as we move forward in the coming days and months and years. In the fact that, you know, black men, especially black male athletes who are professional, don't see black females as you know, someone they should be taking forward and having children with. And we're going to get into some some controversial ways that is indeed the case a little later on. But she does have a point. I mean, once these dating pools have been widened, once these spheres are open, especially when they move on to big college campuses, especially, you know, let's say in the United States, Division I campuses like you know, University of Texas, or, you know, Stanford, or a lot of these bigger colleges there. And once they see their choice of women is that much more vast, they're going to move into that because of curiosity, number one. Number two, they find these women to be more cooperative and submissive in the eyes of these gentlemen. And it must be said that, you know, in many circumstances, black women aren't changing. And we're going to get into that a little later on Talk Talk Live in terms of how black women are portrayed, and how black women don't seem to want to change in order to be accepted by these men that they want to make themselves eligible for. So let's move on.
That's why sometimes black women get frustrated. You epitomize us in rap music. You epitomize us in everything from the way we look, the way we dance. But when it comes to the important stuff, we're not chosen. You're not checking for Makita, because my real name is not Ty, you guys. My real name is Makita. That's what my real name is. You're not checking for Makita. You want Ty, who looks light skinned, who has a wig, is definitely a lace front. That's who you're checking for. But black ass Makita, you're not really for. So let's switch this up though. So some girls are like, oh, okay, well, he's not checking for you. When Daquan was studying in the library and doing the best he could for his SAT, a lot of black women were clowning him, talking about how his shoes were dirty, talking about how he couldn't kiss and his hair was nappy. But guess who was at the study hall with him baking mama's blueberry muffins? Sarah was there.
Thank you very much, Time Carolina. Wonderful, wonderful retort. The fact of the matter is, and I just brought this up on Talk Talk Live, you will go for the athletes because they aren't corny. But when one guy is studying for his SATs, when a man is trying to get his LSATs, when a man is on his MCATs, when a man is doing his GMATs, where are you? You're calling him corny until he becomes a success, and now you want to turn around. But the fact of the matter is, those white women are there then. They're there then, helping them study. They're there then, giving them emotional support. They're there then, giving them what they need sexually. Off rip. And a lot of these black women walk away from these gentlemen. They'll go for the athletes. The athletes, hey, you know, they'll have the swag. They have, you know, but that's, the black women will always go for ballers. But even ballers now are turning their backs on a lot of black women. I wouldn't say the majority, but a lot of them are. But the fact of the matter is, there are good black men that are still around that aren't athletic, but black women walk away from because they want to be at the finish line and not while he's running his race. Let me say that again. A lot of black women, not all, a lot of black women want to be at the finish line and not while he's running his race. And that's a problem. That is a big, big problem. I'm glad Time absolutely admitting this. You see accountability. Don't see it a lot of women, but you see it all the time. Well done to her. Well done.
He was dark skinned. So don't act like, oh, we just been all for black men this entire time, because that's not true either. Dark skinned brothers have always had it a little bit more difficult than their lighter counterparts. And sometimes we haven't been checking for them. So who's been checking for them? Sarah, Jamie, all of them have been there with blueberry muffins, inviting them over to the house. Mom is saying hello on Sunday mornings, but we were over there trying to be cute at the football games, trying to show our teeth and our ass to guys who aren't nothing today.
Wow, time is on tonight. Well done, time. That is outstanding. And she's right. A guy like Phoebe, let's look at him, because I don't want to disrespect him. I really don't want to disrespect him. I really don't want to disrespect him. So let's look up this man's name. This man named Phoebe Gates' boyfriend. Is it boyfriend? It's a boyfriend. Yes, Phoebe Gates' boyfriend. It's Robert Ross. Yes, let's get to images of Robert Ross. Here we go. Let's look for Robert Ross here. Yes, indeed. Let's look for Robert Ross. Open image in new tab. Thank you very much. And Talk Live. Watch out for this. Here we go. There he is. Would a lot of black women be checking for this guy? You can see on Talk Live on YouTube. You wouldn't. You would not. You would not be checking for my man, Robert Ross. He's dark-skinned. He may be looking a little corny, but guess who saw the beauty in him? Phoebe Gates. Saw the beauty in him. And so many white women see the beauty in him. Well, a lot of black women wouldn't check for him. They'll check for the athletes. They'll check for the actors. They'll check for the guys at the finish line. But you'll never check for a guy like him. He may be a little dark-skinned, and may not be, Shamar Moore-like in appearance. And that's a shame, because you lost a good guy here, but she saw the potential in him. And as time has already stated, and wonderfully done, in fact, y'all black women aren't checking for a guy like him. You aren't. You just aren't. So when he becomes a success, you're going to start hating? No! Don't hate, congratulate. Congratulate the fact that Phoebe Gates went out of her way to find the beauty in him and selected him to be her mate. Do not hate, congratulate. Well done to you, time. I applaud her. Fantastic. She puts out a balanced view. Many black women wouldn't, but she did. Let's continue.
So that's what happens. So I just wanted to answer the question, because people were saying, oh, it's love has no color. That is bullshit. It's not about racism. It's not about classism. It's the fact that when we ride or die for these black men, ride or die, I mean picking them up, buying them food and stuff like that, but when you look at their Instagram photos, they don't marry you. They're not marrying me. They're not. It's just the truth. And so people ask me, like, why? How do you know so much? And this is not to throw shade at anybody. I promise you I'm not trying to throw shade at anyone. But I can tell you, after attending the Carolina Panthers charity events, there is only one black man who actually had a black wife. And I know you're probably talking about Cam, but Cam has not met.
Whoa! Let me run that back again. I thought it was bad. I didn't know it was this bad. Let's go again.
Anyone. But I can tell you, after attending the Carolina Panthers charity events, there is only one black man who actually had a black wife. And I know you're probably talking about Cam, but Cam has not made her his wife. And sometimes it feels like we can have your children, we can have your babies, but the girl that gets to pose in all the pictures with you doesn't even look like me.
Wow! I never knew it was like that. I never knew it was like that. And how long ago was this? Let's just go back here. That was, and I wouldn't see it as any really, 5 years ago. This show was 5 years old. And back then, at a Carolina Panthers party, you only had one black wife show up. Out of all these athletes, only one black wife. That is astounding. That is stunning. Black women, you, that is a ringing critique for yourselves. Ringing. Now, some would say that you want to put the past in the past, and certain black guys just want to find find someone new for them to marry and to procreate with. But at the end of the day, a choice is being made because these women are getting on a man's program. These women are more feminine. These women are fitter. These women are friendlier. These women are more cooperative and definitely more submissive. They don't what. Most races of women would find it easy to be submissive to a black man. Why can't black women? Again, most races of women will find it easy to be submissive to black men, especially black men of a certain stature. Why can't black women? Do we have to show our credentials before you can make that submission? And I would say that is the truth. Men have to prove that they are of an elite level before they get that submission from black women. White women, other women, you get submission from them from the jump. From the jump. With black women, there are hurdles to climb. With white women, there aren't. There aren't hurdles. There aren't hurdles. There isn't any red tape. All they want to do is get on a man's program, get married to those men, and have babies.
She doesn't look like me. My real hair is nappy as heck, okay? My real name is Makita. You don't see those girls that are standing beside them on red carpets. That's just not what we see. So yeah, sometimes it's very frustrating when we've been riding or dying and you grow and epitomize the things that you become from a black woman. But we don't get to feel a part of you at the end because you don't marry us. So that's why sometimes and some black women get frustrated when reputable and notable, such as our professional athletes, such as our doctors and our professionals, date white women. So I want to see what your question.
Thank you very much, Time. Thank you very much for that, Time. But Time, that is that is definitely something that needs to be talked about. That goes without saying. That nothing more to be said. I think she gave a very balanced argument in the fact that black women will show up for athletes, but athletes aren't choosing them because they're less submissive. And the men that can become high value men, that can become good men to these black women, they don't show up until the final hurdle is crossed. Yes, they're hedging bets. Yes, I totally understand that. But sometimes, and on a lot of occasions, you need to buy in. You need to invest early. Love is a chance that you have to take. And listen, it goes without saying that you can end up the loser, but black women. But at the end of the day, you got to buy in early. You got to buy in early. And not only that, you got to change your attitude as well. We're going to get into that on our next video here on Talk Talk Live. Thank you very much for joining me on Talk Talk Live. Like, subscribe, comment. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. What's it now? I saw this. I think this goes towards. No, I wouldn't say this one yet. Let's move on to yes. Here we go. No, that's Mr. Hopkins. But let me just get that next video up here. Let me move this over here for a second. Give me 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. It is.
Let's get everybody.
Not you yet, my friend. Thank you.
Oh, shit.
Thank you, O'Shea. Yes. No, this ain't it. Chad it queued up. Just 1 second. Okay. It is. Let's see. Is it there? No, I think it's on that Whitlock one. Yes, indeed. There's Jason Whitlock. Here we go. Fearless Jason Whitlock. Okay, shout out to Fearless Jason Whitlock on this topic. Here we go. Yes, it was here, and I have to show you a picture just quickly. There it is. Before we get into the subject, this is the Knicks. I think holiday party last year, and you get to see the ladies that are in front here, and this is damning. This is as damning as that. Carolina Hurricanes assertion by Time Carolina back just a few minutes ago. The Knicks holiday party. The gentlemen and their wives in front. 5 out of 6 of these ladies are black women. I mean, 5 out of 6 of these ladies are white women. 1 black, and she's with, I think it's Svi Mihailik, who used to play the Toronto Raptors. Shout out to him. But most of these ladies, white guys, black guys included, have chosen white women to be their wives and girlfriends. If you're watching this on Talk Live, you can see it live right now. 5 out of 6 of these ladies involved in this Knicks holiday party, and this is not too long ago. 5 out of 6 of them are white women, and 3 of those gentlemen are black. Let's continue. Let's get into this.
This morning, the Knicks Christmas party gathering. The Knicks put this out on their Twitter feed, and it's a beautiful picture. There's nothing wrong with the picture. There are 3, I believe, black basketball players: Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, Obi Toppin, and then there's some foreign guys. I can't pronounce their names. One of them is Isaiah Hartenstein. I can't pronounce his name. I think that's the second guy listed. But anyway, snowstorm hit the Knicks Christmas party last night. There's 1 black lady in that picture, and she's with a white foreign player. Obviously,
Svi Mihailik, he couldn't pronounce the name. I don't know. Jason Whitlock is a reporter of great repute, and he's been a sports reporter for years, and yet cannot pronounce his name. Well, that speaks to something that I will not name right now. But let's continue.
You know, we could sit here and roll out pictures that you can find on Google Images of me. Anybody that knows me knows I got no problem with this, but it is interesting and raises a question about what's going on with black men and black women. And I say that based off all the conversations we've been having on this show over the last couple of weeks. This whole Israelite issue, as more I delve deeper into it, it's about a group of men wanting a religion that caters to men and caters to the patriarchy and rejects the matriarchy. And if you've listened to me talk on this show and listen to the discussion we have on this show, as black people, we have a very matriarchal culture. You listen to me talk about the movies that Hollywood keeps dumping out, Wakanda Forever, The Woman King, all these movies, the TV show, The Equalizer, all these women, all these movies and content that's coming out with a clear message of the woman is the leader, the woman is a warrior, strong black women can save the world. Stacey Abrams, you go girl, and we saved America, and you know we got to put black women in positions of leadership and power to save America. The black woman's gonna save America. A lot of men don't have the balls to say it out loud, but they're not on board with that. And so
we've been talking about that on Talk Live recently. The fact that they want stronger women and weaker men. Hell, you can see it out of how they admonish Kevin Samuels. You can see how they locked up Andrew Tate. And here Jason Whitlock has proven it to the fore in terms of pop culture. You see The Equalizer. You see The Woman King. You see Wakanda Forever. Black men live in a matriarchal society. And the thing about men in general is the fact that men won't go out and tell you what they're going to do. Shout out to Fresh and Fit for this theory. And it rings true. Men won't tell women what their plans are in terms of relationships. They'll just do it. They'll literally just do it. And seen by that Christmas party pic, where that's a recent pic, mind you, that's a recent pic where the Christmas party was stuck by a snowstorm, by a snow bunny storm. Black men are voting with their feet now. They ain't gonna tell you to your face because they don't want the aggravation. They don't want the histrionics. They don't want the just the let's call it a spade a spade. They don't want the bullshit. They just don't want the bullshit. So they're just gonna move on, and they are going to choose these women who are going to be fit, feminine, friendly, cooperative, submissive. They're choosing them because they've been surrounded by them since they are in a matriarchal society all their lives with strong black women who will get in their face. They don't want to face that anymore. They don't want to face that anymore. They don't want to deal with that anymore. So they're going to vote with their feet and choose an option that will get on a man's page, that will be fit, feminine, friendly, cooperative, submissive at all times. And we'll get on their page. This is what we're dealing with today, ladies. This is what we're dealing with. And Jason Whitlock has once again pointed that out.
Their actions let you know what they're on board with. And throw that next picture back up there again. Those actions are speaking really, really loudly. And when you start seeing people embrace, I watched a video of a Straightway Ministries. Those guys are Israelites. I watched a video of a wedding service that they put on where the man is the star of the wedding ceremony. The man enters the chapel last and is celebrated. There's an issue between the black man and the black woman, the patriarchy and the matriarchy. White guys are aware that men are being emasculated. Black guys are aware that men are being emasculated. Black men, with their actions, are starting to, in my view, reject black women because black women are uninterested in a role where they follow a man.
Wow! Mr. Whitlock, kudos to you. Kudos to you. Black men, like every man, are voting with their feet. And their feet are telling you, literally telling you, that if you're on their plan, and if you are the man, you'll be done away with. You'll be done away with. And these white women are only too willing to jump in that driver's seat. Only too willing to be that fit, feminine, friendly, cooperative, submissive woman that Kevin Samuels is talking about. Winter is coming, and he's telling you, black women, that it is here. And this is the result. Winter is here. A snowstorm has appeared. And this is the result. It's a snowstorm. It's a snow bunny storm. It's a snow bunny storm, people. Get your shovels out.
Saying that explains all of this, but it's out there and it needs to be discussed, and we're going to do it with Shamika Michelle. And one last part before we bring Shamika in, I want to play you because when I saw the Barstool clip and I saw these two black women, Barstool
is a sports humor site for white men. I'm not saying other people don't enjoy Barstool, but Barstool's employee base and fan base is white men.
Shout out to my man Troops from Troops TV, and also to my man Expressions. Two black men from London, England. Let me say that they're from London, England, and they usually and they are Barstool employees. They are Barstool employees. They have Barstool credentials, and they speak about again the beautiful game, football, my favorite sport. And yes, so it's not exactly I would say predominantly white, but there are black who work at the station. But Troops TV and also Expressions are two black men who do work there. But again, it is a predominantly white sports network, online network, and yes, indeed. But going on to it, if you didn't see, there was an incident beforehand where two men were causing a disturbance, and black women came to the rescue to kick with the help of white gentlemen as well, to kick these gentlemen out. And Jason Whitlock's calling that to task. Let's continue.
And I'm like, two black women are willing to risk harm to protect Dave Portnoy, who's not even around? Two black women are out there, Viola Davis being the woman king, and they're gonna beat up a 6'5" white man to save the reputation of Dave Portnoy. I'm like, this is crazy. And then they went on social media and bragged about it. Can we play the clip of the two women from Barstool?
Yes, indeed.
About how they took on a 6'5" white man to save Dave Portnoy's honor.
If you run down on Barstool HQ, you gotta deal with us.
Right.
And you don't want to deal with us.
We the original what?
The real Mean Girls.
The real Mean
The original and the real Mean Girls.
I'm just saying.
Jordan, Alex, where were you? We needed you.
Haven't seen you.
Didn't see you.
Shamika, what's going on here?
I'll tell you what's going on here. But I want Tamika's input as well on this. I'll tell you what's going on here. You see it in TV, you see it in movies, you see it in media. The strong, independent, I don't need no man, black woman is out there, and they shout it loudly and proudly. And quite simply, black men don't like it. A lot of black men don't like it. They just don't like it. They don't. Now, again, the majority of black men marry black women, yes. However, they don't like the attitude. The attitude is for the streets. And for black women to carry this attitude on, I've said here on Talk to Talk Live again and again and again. For black women to carry on this attitude, it's only doing them a disservice. And a huge disservice at that. Huge. Not when on dating apps, black men are the second leading candidates for dates. And where black women are the least selected. You get the difference? All women would rather deal with black women because they dealt with matriarchal societies. They'll listen to their women. And they tend to be great parents. In other words, they tend to be Renaissance men. They tend to take a woman's word in any decision they make. because they grew up in a matriarchal society. So they'll tend to listen to their women. However, if a black woman is proving loud and indecent and indifferent to a black man's opinion, they're going to move on, and they're moving on. You can see the snowstorm is here. This is the winter Kevin Samuels was talking about. This is it. This is it. But I let her continue on this subject.
Well, am I right? Or is what's in the water, what's in the training, what's in the culture where black women want to be kings, not queens?
There's so much to talk about, Jason, when it comes to this, because it does seem when you look over the internet and when even in real life, you start to ask yourself, like, do black women need handlers like we're in a zoo? Or is it just that we don't have enough positivity pushed out there? Because, listen, I'm not saying that the men are right for walking away from black women, but I definitely understand. I see it so much and I get so frustrated with the way that we carry ourselves, that you want to be seen as this tough king, as you've said. You don't mind being seen as a slut or a whore. We're the only people that will put ourselves out there like, I got this wop, or I got that, or my mouth can do this, I'm a throat goat. We are the only group of women that are fine portraying ourselves as sluts and whores and savages and think that it's okay.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Men do not want to be associated with sluts and whores. We don't. Never did. You are for the streets if that is the case. Now don't get it twisted. There are women of all shades, of all colors, of all creeds that can be for the streets, but they don't portray it. They don't revel in it. They don't pedestalize it like what black women do. Unfortunately, they don't. They don't. She said it herself. When women talk about WAP, when women talk about themselves as woman kings, when women get out there and portray themselves and show themselves to be doormen that they should be proud of and not be ladylike, that's a problem. That's a big problem. I was at a band launch, and this may prove to be a little controversial, but I have to say it. I was at a band launch this weekend, the Revelers band launch. Shout out to Toronto Revelers, who I'll be playing with this year on the road, of course, as you know. Shout out to Jamal McGlure and crew. At a band launch this weekend for Toronto Revelers, the amount of masculine women in that room was stunning. It was stunning. It was literally stunning. It was like, it's really taking over. You would not see that at a white establishment. And I've been to many. At a white soiree, and I've been to many. You wouldn't see that. But you see that in black circles and in black social events regularly. And it's only getting bigger and bigger that masculine women are being seen a lot more these days. And there's a reason why. Because as they say, this is being promoted within our culture. Promoted. Big time. And black men have either to accept it or move on. And men are moving on. They're moving on. Because femininity is like catnip to a black man. Like any other man, it's like catnip. And if these black women are not showing that sort of femininity, they will be moved on. They will not be chosen. Any high-value man worth his salt will not choose a masculine woman for his mate. They won't do it. They will not do it. And if they're getting a steady diet of femininity, of fitness, of friendliness, of cooperation and submission from other races, including white women, guess what's going to happen? Guess what's going to happen? They're going to move that way. Just say.
You know, it's so much that goes into this. Like, I understand why men are tired of it, because we do seem to be the only ones that think that that's the way to go, and we are not training our women any differently. We're not teaching young girls that what you're seeing is not acceptable behavior, because we have so many older women who have a hard time with the fact that they are getting older, that they do the exact same things, setting terrible examples. You know, I'm seeing videos of so-called aunties twerking and being half naked in videos, and this is the example that you're setting for young girls. So of course they're going to grow up to want to be exactly what has been put in front of them. I say it all the time that one of the best things my ex-husband ever said to me was, "You're going to be the first example for these girls." I took that to heart, and I realized that that made me have a certain responsibility that, of course, I'm not going to be perfect. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to do things that I wish I hadn't done. But it was just very important to me when they look at me to not see some of this foolishness that we see being pushed out in society and deemed appropriate or okay.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. Ladies, here's the thing. And I did this with my girlfriend as well. Men are starting to check your Instagram pages to see how much of a free spirit you are, quote unquote. And if you're too much of a free spirit, if you see yourself on yachts and in cars and in such and objectifying yourself, men are going to notice that. Men will notice that. And we will keep a running tab on it. And if your man asks you to please refrain from said objectification, please refrain from wearing your, from objectifying yourself, please refrain from acting like, you know, it's whole season all year round, and you don't do it, and you don't take your man's idea into account, we will send you from where you came, and we will choose other avenues. If it was, and I'll tell you what, I'll say it here. I've only dealt with black women in my life, and my girlfriend knows this. But I was going to go down that road that many of these athletes are doing. I was going to do it. If it wasn't for my girlfriend, I was going to do it. I was. Because at least she showed that femininity that black men are craving these days, and they're not getting. They are not getting. Especially black athletes. And when you're a black athlete and you have a wider talent pool from which to choose from, and you're getting all these signals in terms of Woman King, in terms of WAP, in terms of The Equalizer, where you're seeing stronger women and weaker men, guess what the men are going to do? They're gonna search for femininity in any shade now. That's what they're doing. Like my lady, Miss Carolina has already said. She went to a Carolina Panthers Christmas party and she only found one black wife. The talent pool for the Carolina Panthers are 70 to 80% black. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? Becky's doing business.
We're not training these children up in the way that they should go, for sure.
I'm not. I don't. I just, the stuff that I see on social media, and maybe it's the way I got my feed rigged or whatever, but now I can't even say that because it's not the stuff people are sending me. It's just like when you go just wandering around social media and Twitter, the videos that you just run into, and I'm just like, it just blows my mind. And I saw a video this morning of a comedian that, and maybe, did I see it on Delano's Twitter feed? I can't remember, but I saw a video of a comedian trying to perform his act, and a black woman went Karen on him, and the comedian, I think, is half black and half white, or half black and half Asian, and as it turns out, as I looked, the woman was half black, half white, but I want to play this video of this comedian trying to do his job, and the kind of harassment he faced from this woman. Let's play the video.
Where credit is due, I'm probably the most pro-anti-Trump comic out there. That
You're not.
Shut the
As a white guy trying to talk to black people,
I'm not.
bitch, no, you're not.
What are you upset about? It's not me.
No, and shut up. Any black person that tried to laugh at his jokes, no. No, a white person trying to make fun of black people.
See, now you're crying, and I was just trying to make you laugh.
No, don't do that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You a bitch.
No. Why do you think I'm doing this for a living? You think I was a football player? I'm a bitch. Go. There's nothing you can say to me I haven't said 6 inches from the mirror. You're the first name going in my suicide note tonight. Have a good night, Kamala Harris. Now's the time I need you on my side.
No, that was the most racist joke ever.
No, I got like 4 more in the chamber.
What is that? I mean, this is, what can you say? What can you joke about? He's at a comedy club cracking jokes, and that's the most racist joke ever.
This is what we're dealing with, people. Black women, look at yourselves in the mirror, please. Look at yourselves in the mirror. And understand why you are not being chosen and why black women are more interested in being kings than queens. You have bit the feminist apple and eaten it all to a point where you're now the lowest married among women in the developed world. You're not being chosen the way you used to be, unfortunately. I chose a black woman. I wanted a black woman. I chose a black woman myself. But a lot of black men aren't doing it anymore. They're just moving on. They're moving on because they're not getting the fitness, they're not getting the friendliness, they're not getting the femininity, they're not getting the cooperation, and they're not getting the submission black men want. Not doing it. Not in pop culture, and not in real life with their women. Not doing it. And men are such that rather than tell you, we will adjust our actions as a result. Sad but true. Our expert here says she doesn't agree with what we're doing, but she understands where we're going with this. She understands. She understands. She reasoned with herself and said, I wouldn't stay with ourselves either If you saw me at the Toronto Revelers band launch, there's a change going on, and a lot of men aren't agreeing with it. They aren't. They are not agreeing with it. We just won't tell you to your face, though. We'll show you by our actions how we agree or not agree. And if you're not showing femininity, if you're not showing cooperation, submission, ladies, these gentlemen are moving on. They're moving on. They're doing it.
What? You can't even have a good time. What is
Right.
it?
So for one, we've been made to feel like we can do no wrong. Black women hate correction, and I say it all the time. We hate correction, we hate accountability, but I have to say that it's been a lot of beta males that have made that possible. You talked about the Israelite wedding before I came on, and you said how the man was the last one to come down. I think, with our culture before and with Christianity, the church is the bride of Christ. And so Jesus loved the church so much that he died for us, right? But in return, the church hasn't been like, oh, F Jesus, Jesus ain't nothing. Jesus should worship us. But when it comes to Black women, because, we feel like we have to be worshiped and we're not acting as the bride, should be. We should actually be wanting to celebrate these men that put us on a pedestal or that treat us right or that love us the way we're supposed to be loved or adore us. Instead, we're kind of giving men our ass to kiss. So I don't know how we actually make that okay, but if a man to a woman is supposed to look like the church to Jesus, we're doing a terrible job because Jesus, of course, loved the church, us as the body of Christ. But we're not doing that when it comes to Black women and Black men. We have decided, no, you're supposed to worship me and give yourself to me, and then I'm supposed to use you as a doormat and walk all over you. That's my thanks. That's the thanks that we feel like we owe men. No thanks, and here's my behind, worship me.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Couldn't have said it better myself. Black women don't want to be partners in a relationship. They don't want to be submissive in a relationship. They want to dominate it. They would like to dominate it. And a lot of Black women, especially even if they go outside their race, they're looking for a beta male that they can control. That's why a lot of these Black women, they date interracially. In my opinion. They can find a man they can dominate. They can tell what to do. And they'll just gladly do it. The Black men aren't taking that. Unfortunately. They aren't. They aren't. When you're of a certain stature, when you're of a certain economic level, and with the red pill becoming much more in vogue, especially with men, period, especially in pop culture, they're voting with their feet, guys. Let's look at this again. It's not as if, where am I here?
I'm looking at a study from the Pew Research Center.
Oh, yeah, go on.
2015. Black men are twice as likely compared to Black women to marry outside of their race. And so Black women are trying to marry Black men, but Black men, 24% of newlyweds are marrying someone outside of their race.
That's damning. I'm sorry, I was gonna go show a picture there. They're twice as more likely to marry someone outside their race. What is that telling you, Black women? What are you doing? You've 50 years of the women's movement, 50 years of feminism, 50 years of pop culture feeding to your ego, 50 years of sheer nonsense has brought to a point where not even your own men want you anymore. Especially the black athlete. Especially when you're unfeminine. If you're unfeminine, good luck. Good luck finding a black man these days. Any man these days. Because that's how competitive the market is out there. And black female personalities have now fed into the mainstream to a point where you're single, independent, don't need no man. Fine. They won't choose you. You're least chosen on dating apps for a reason. Because you have wallowed in and have glorified this king rather than queen mentality. And quite simply, no man want to take that anymore. It's a form of abuse. No man wants to take that anymore. They'd rather the soft than the hard. And when you say, oh, black man can't handle a woman like me, we don't want to handle someone like you. They don't want to handle someone like you. These black athletes don't want to handle someone like you. They don't. My girlfriend is feminine, and the way she walks through the room, it reads feminine, and it is stark the difference I see. Absolutely stark. And that's what black men crave these days. And black women, if you're not willing to do it, and you may call these women pick-me's all day long until the cows come home, but guess what? They're the ones with men. They're men. They're the ones who are married. They're the ones who are producing children. They're the ones who are winning. They're winning. In the game of life. Especially on and off the court and the field of play.
Lends to some of what you're discussing here. Black men don't seem to want to deal with it. This has been going on since the 80s. It's grown substantially. It was 8% of black men in the 80s, only 3% of black women marrying outside of their own race. Now it's 24% compared to 12.
A quarter of black men are marrying outside of their race. And you know what? They can take their show on the road. Black women, for the most part, can't. Sorry, they can't. And it's because of your attitudes. You walk around I wouldn't say for the most part, I would say a good amount of you walk around like your shit don't stink. And it's quite the opposite. You think men should be worshiping you when you should be worshiping them. You should be thankful that they are there for you. But as I said, you don't want to be a part of a relationship. You want to dominate it. Okay. See how far that gets you. But passport bros are out there. And they're winning. Why? Because we've been a part of matriarchal society. Black men listen to their women. They have a lending ear to all races of women, and they succeed. Black women gotta shape up. They're losing their men. A quarter of their men are going, and it's only going to grow. Listen, let me say this. You think this is bad? Wait till the Zennials grow up. The Zennials don't care now. They don't care. They are voting with their feet every single day. And there's a lot of women, I'll tell you, who need femininity training, and I need not say who.
It's the attitude It's, you know, we sit up and think that people are sitting around saying, oh, he thinks the white woman's more beautiful than. That's not it. Then they'll say, well, the white woman will just let you run all over him. He don't want to deal with a strong woman. That's not it. And what you define as being run over is just like, might be she'll allow him to lead and she's willing to follow because that's what the Bible says. You want to lead. He doesn't want to follow you because he doesn't, it's not in his nature, and it's not appropriate, it's not effective.
And it's not something that these women want in the first place. They don't want to follow, they want a leader. They want a confident, intelligent, assertive man. You want a leader. You want a high value man. You want a guy who will take charge. Right? Right? Okay. If that's the case, then let him lead. And black women all too often won't let a man lead. And when they get a man who's a bit of a simp, who's a bit of a beta male, they don't respect him and they cheat on him anyway. So, who wins, ladies? And I mean all ladies. Black, white, Asian, anyone who agrees with this motif, who has this feminist ideal, who has this womanist ideal that they should be in charge of a relationship, even though they want a man to take charge of them. What? That's why they're leaving. That's exactly why black professional athletes, not only here, but definitely in Europe, you don't know about. Oh, let me say this. I lived in London for 7 years. It is happening en masse. You really think that things are bad now. Head over to Europe for a second. Where you literally are not an athlete until you have a white woman on your arm. You are literally not a man in certain circumstances until you have a white woman on your arm. It's happening en masse in Western Europe. Oh, yes. And it's spreading into Asia, into South America with the passport bros. It's spreading. Ladies, we could take our show on the road. Unfortunately, black women can't. And this is the problem.
So men are attracted to women that are willing to follow and willing to celebrate them. I'm not saying these men will be perfect. I'm not saying that they won't cheat. I'm not saying any of that. But they want a woman that will follow. And as we just move further and further and further, they're not going to care about race betrayal. They're just not.
Nope.
They're not going to, because for a long time, that's what would stop someone. I can raise my hand and say, just in all honesty, I would be married if I hadn't previously been overly concerned about marrying someone outside of my race. That's just me being 1,000% transparent and honest. But I'm not, and I've said it, and I used to be ashamed to say it, but relationships are about compromise. And I would say, I'm not meeting anybody halfway to stupidity. It's not going to happen. And I used to feel bad about saying it, but that is how I felt. And it's how I feel. I'm not meeting anybody halfway to stupidity. I'm going to lead. You're either going to trust my leadership and go down with the ship or rise with the ship. But me just placating you to make you feel good, not going to happen.
Simps are on the decline, people, especially with the red pill movement moving forward. Simps are on the decline. Men are getting in the gym. Men are making more men of themselves, especially when you have a man like Andrew Tate, who's literally the most searched individual on the internet as a red pill male, as their hero. Men's attitudes are changing, ladies, and unless you're willing to get on a man's plan, like Mr. Whitlock has said, especially with divorce being what it is, especially with women's attitudes as they are, especially with race becoming indifferent these days, they'll move on. A selected few are literally going and being race loyal. But those numbers are on the decline, as he said. The statistics are there. This is only 3 months ago. A quarter of men of the black race are dating interracially these days. It's getting worse and worse. You should see it in Europe, like I have. I welcome your comments on this. Comment down below. I'm serious. Black women, if you want to win, you need to stay away from all of these stereotypical, idiotic ideas of yourselves. And I think it's not just you. I think it's pop culture who are promoting you as such. But one thing those other races know how to do, when it comes to falling in line, they get it. They get in line. Quick, quick, quick! They don't stay out and portray said rhetoric for too long. They don't do it. They don't do it. You had a black woman here who said it herself. They don't do it. She understands why black men are moving this way. Unfortunately. I'm trying to save you. I want more black families. I like black love. I love black love myself. I'm trying to help you out here. Kevin tried to help you out here. You danced on his grave. Remember? You danced on his grave. Now he's a part of the angels. Now what? Okay.
Shamika, jump back in here. I don't even know if I got a question, but I just...
Yeah, I was going to say, too, a lot of women, and you've seen black women just become hypersexualized. Like, of course, it's okay to be in touch with your sexuality, but to be hypersexualized and to think that that's all that matters to men, that's not all that matters. I've had a lot of men that just want some peace. And I always say, she that brings the most peace gets the most time. You know, sex is important, but if you got to deal with sex and somebody, constantly belittling you or talking back or running their mouth, you can go get sex somewhere else where there's peace. You can go get sex somewhere else where there's a cheerleader telling you that you can do it. When there's not somebody telling you that you ain't shit, you can go and get sex from that person. So when you think that sex is going to keep a man from actually, doing what his nature says, you're just stupid, because no man in his right mind, when he really wants to get in touch with who he is and his masculinity and fulfill his purpose in this earth realm, the purpose that God designed him for, is going to willingly submit to being mistreated consistently at home. No man in his right mind will do that. So women, I think, need to start actually listening and stop thinking that you're going to keep fighting against these men and get these men to change their mind and belittling them, telling them, oh, you're gay if you don't want me, or you don't like your own people if you don't want me, or your mama is black. He know his mama is black. And sometimes his mama is some of the reason why he don't want to continue to deal with your foolishness. He had to deal with his mama. He don't have to deal with you. And that's what women need to realize. So You're going to keep fighting a losing battle if you think that you're going to convince a man to go against who God designed him to be, especially one that's trying to follow after God.
I couldn't have said that better myself. It used to be that your sex would keep your man these days. Black women tend to be the more sexually conservative women out there. They don't want to do this, this, and this. Now, again, I have been in relationships where that is indeed not the case. Not the case. But men these days, when they, especially black men, especially black men, ladies, when they see opportunities of all races show up to your doorstep and want to come in, a lot of black men are letting them in these days, especially these athletes, especially when they have the wherewithal to allow these women in who will get a fit, feminine, friendly, cooperative, submissive lady. They will get it. They will get it. They will get it. Off rip. Off absolute rip. You cannot take your show on the road, ladies. Men are voting with their feet, and with divorce rates the way they are, if they're going to go out, they're going to go out to a feminine woman. And again, like the lady said, so sex ain't holding you, number one. Your boobs and your butt aren't holding us anymore. It's not. It's your attitude that does. Are you providing your men the 3 S's? Sex, sandwich, silence. Are you his peace? I'm asking. Are you your man's peace? Or do you give your man headache ad litem? And I just showed you last week on Talk Live of what happened to certain masculine women who want to go off at the mouth. Especially black women. They kill their partners. They do it. They've done it. When all men want is peace. Do you provide your man peace? If you don't provide your man peace, that's why you're alone. I can tell by my girlfriend. She provides me peace. My girlfriend provides me peace. Do you black women, and remember, my girlfriend's a black woman. Do you black women do that? If you don't, there's another reason why. A lot of these black athletes are saying, if they're providing me peace, I'll have some half-breed babies. They're going to be black anyway. You heard that one before, right?
It's going to be a losing battle.
You just led me into something that's going on across the culture that people haven't tied together. I think I talked about at the top of the show. This whole Israelite thing and why it's spreading and becoming more popular.
I'm going to leave it there with Mr. Whitlock. Well said. I just had to play an extended version of that because, again, it needs to be said, ladies. And this is coming from a black woman herself. You can see it here on Talk Live. Let me see if I have any comments in the comments section. Not as of yet. All right. And we're good. And yes. When are you going to realize? When are you going to realize, ladies, that this is indeed... Well, okay. No worries. You keep listening to Cardi B. You keep listening to Glorilla. I can't believe a woman has named herself Glorilla. Ah, man. Only a black woman do this stuff. Glorilla. Something's got to change. Black women, something's got to change. Something got to change. Something got to change. Meg the Stallion. Cardi B. Hell, let's go back to Lil' Kim. Let's go back. Let's take it all the way back. Black women have been sexualized for decades. And they've been shown in pop culture to be not queens, but kings. They don't want to be a part of a relationship, be a partner's relationship. They want to dominate it. Black men aren't taking that okie doke anymore. They aren't. Let's move on. All right. I think we'll go. Yes, indeed. Let's go to this one here. Why NBA athletes are picking more non-black women. Here's why. Let's see here. Oh, actually, let me see. We got a few others here. This is, yes, indeed. Yeah, let's go with that one here. Let's go with Steven Jackson, who is a noted critique. He does All the Smoke on Showtime. A very, very reputable show on Showtime now. All the Smoke. He does that with I forget his name. For God's sake. Somebody let me know in the comments. But he even asked the question, and it's a big question. And O'Shea Jew Jackson. We're going back to O'Shea Jew Jackson to answer this. And thank you for joining me on Talk Talk Live. And then we're gonna wrap things up here.
They never have a black one. I've never seen it. Never in the history of the draft do you see a white NFL player getting drafted with a white woman. And I don't want you to take my word for it, right? I want you to hear what Steven Jackson had to say, and then we're gonna come back and I'm gonna add my commentary.
Morning, world. Wake and bake on my shit. Say, we've almost seen everything in the NFL draft, right? We've seen a dude get drafted and his gay boyfriend try to show him love and he move away from him. We see a guy get drafted and he kiss his white boyfriend. We've seen almost everything with the draft, right? And y'all know I'm not racist. I love everybody, but I have a question. How come we've never seen a white guy get drafted with a house full of black people celebrating for him? Or how come we've never seen a white boy get drafted with his black girlfriend and a house full of black people? Why is always the black player with the white girlfriend with the white family around? Like, I don't understand it. It's never the other way around. It's never the other way around. Am I tripping?
All right, guys. So, you heard what he had to say, right? And, in my opinion, man, I gotta say, I believe that he's right. Some people are saying, Steven Jackson hates black women, or, black men maybe shouldn't be dealing with white girls. We don't really know what he's trying to say. But the truth is the truth. You never see white NFL players dating black women. But here's something I want to talk about. Sisters give the hint that, white guys are checking for them. This is the reason why, whenever they see interracial dating.
Let's move this a little further just to speed this up.
The person on my team was a cornerback, and we might be friends. But for the most part, having friends that are men of other races and dating somebody that's black, for a lot of black people and a lot of white people, we just don't really mix like that, right? I mean, if you go to Notre Dame, University of Nebraska, University of Iowa, how many black women are there? Think about it. Penn State, Georgia Tech, University of Georgia, University of Texas. You're not going to find that many black women there. And if there are there, you're going to find so many white women there, it's ridiculous. All right? You know what? For any black person that goes to predominantly white universities, let's just be honest. When you go to predominantly white institutions, right? And this is what I remember. Most black students try to hang around themselves. Okay? We do that. When we go to a white school, what's the first thing we want to do? We want to form a black student union. You know what I'm saying? We want to feel some kind of black community in these situations. So there's a sense of longing of wanting to be somewhere in the black or African community amongst blacks when you go to a predominantly white institution, right? And for white football players who have white women throwing themselves at them, All right, I'm talking about cheerleaders, and that predominantly white institutions. You know, the best looking white women at Arizona State, University of Arizona. When I'm talking about they're fine, they're really fine. And one of the things I would say that if you're black, if you're a sister, and there is a white guy that is of high value, you know, I think a lot of sisters are intimidated by white guys who are doing very well. That's just my, you know, because I know that because sisters tend to be intimidated by brothers who are doing very well. I know that to be true. Black women are intimidated by successful black men. In my all honest opinion, I could be wrong here and there, but in general, I feel that that's the case. I feel that black women, they don't know how to be around a brother that doesn't need them. That's why a lot of times successful black women are used to dealing with, you know, dudes who can't do anything for them. That's what I feel. But if it's a white guy that comes from a whole different upbringing, and if she comes from an upbringing that's not, you know, as stellar, she might be the first person for me going to college. You know, a lot of sisters have a hard time competing against women in the dominant society. All right, and a lot of the time, that's why when you see sisters getting with white guys, these are the type of white guys that a lot of white women are not interested in. Okay, and when you talk about the NFL draft,
case in point. Well, let's go back into that subject just a little bit, just quickly. When you get into a lot of these predominantly white institutions, that's what they call the PWIs, especially in the States, and you're exposed to this sort of woman who has been raised by a white mother, who's been raised to be feminine, who's been raised to be submissive, who is, and to a fault. It's like clapping it to a black man, and they're throwing themselves at these black athletes. What's a man to do? What's a man to do when he has been surrounded, unfortunately, for the most part, by black women who would berate him, who would shout at him, who would tell him he's no good, who would tell him, you know, tell him that his daddy's no good, tell him all these negative things. And he finds a woman who's going to be there and encourage him and such. I mean, it's not to say that all of them do, and not saying that black women don't do this, because I know a lot of black women who do this. But there's a good minority/majority of women who don't, and they were surrounded by them all through their high school years, and they finally get to a place where a woman takes an interest and is super excited to be around them, and who sees them as someone who can take charge of the relationship that they're in. And she'll be submissive as hell to him and see him and find those areas that need improvement and accentuate them. And black men take to that like bees to honey. And white guys are usually, that's what they want. That's why you don't find a lot of black women moving in on white guys. And if they do, as they said here, they're usually the ones that white women reject. Let's go to Chili of TLC fame. Her boyfriend is unemployed, but she didn't want no scrubs. She didn't want no scrubs, but her boyfriend is unemployed. There are a few others that I won't mention now. But there are a few others that indeed fit this moniker of white guys who were rejected by white women. Black women have taken under the wing and taken on in effect. When the black guys have taken on white women, usually they're, I mean, listen, there have been some, you know, bad showings, and it goes both ways. But in terms of athletes now, they get the best of the best of the best of the best of the best. They get the best of the best. And black women aren't taking the hint. What they are taking are words from Glorilla and Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion about WAP and Girls are players too, and this nonsense, and black men aren't saying what? What are you talking about, bro? Shout out to Russell Westbrook. When they see femininity in front of them, most men strike these days. They strike. And if you're not showing it for them, they're hands off.
Now you're talking about every white guy that a white woman wants, okay? Any white guy going to the NFL, that's a high-value white man, all right? And I think there's a two-pronged process. High-value white men are most likely not looking for black women, in my opinion, and our high-value white men intimidate black women so that they don't want to try to even be with them. Because for the most part, if you're a high-value white guy, you might see a, African-American chick, she might be attractive, but unless you really, 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 really love black women, you're probably not even going to approach her, Again, you have white women beating down your door, all the time. Good-looking ones. You relate to them. You're from the same culture. Listen to the same music, So when these white guys are going to the NFL, there really isn't a need for them to want to get with anything else but the beauty standard of their culture, which is beautiful blonde, white women, brunette, whatever. And Steven Jackson is absolutely right. You don't see it, you've never seen it, and you won't see it. You just won't. The only time you really see white guys dealing with black women, in my opinion, these typically are white guys who have, not been as successful. I'm not saying that's always the case because we know that's not the case all the time. But usually, these are the white guys where sisters feel a little bit more comfortable with. We're just going to be honest, all right? And that's really what's going on in America. So Steven Jackson, he did point this out. I definitely agree. Not saying that sisters not attractive enough, but the worlds, for the most part, they just don't meet. Nothing wrong with that. Like even me, I feel kind of, a different kind of way talking to a white woman, even in Poland. I feel out of place, which is why I never did it. It's not like I don't think they don't look good, but that's just myself. Brothers, go ahead and like the video.
There it is. Thank you, O'Shea, for a second time. But we're going to start wrapping up. But I want to just mention this one comment here. You're going to start, and this is a very controversial one, so I'm just gonna move forward here. There we go. Right here, and it was brought forward by Black Athletes Dating White Women show on Tim Tom. Subscribe to him. And he's talking, and it was a very controversial comment that was made by a black athlete, and a couple of years back, and we're just gonna listen to it right now.
Move forward. This was another story that went viral right after that. Here, let's play the video and then I will explain.
Cheers to more light-skinned kids. Cheers to more light-skinned kids. Really, cheers to more light-skinned kids. Really, no. Cheers to more light-skinned kids. Cheers to more light-skinned kids.
All right, so you just see it. Cheers to more.
He said, "Cheers to more light-skinned kids." That was Isaiah Phillips. Sorry. Wait a second. No. Is it Jaleel Ade? Okay, Jaleel Ade. I think is the name of the gentleman. But anyways, let's continue. Let's flesh this out.
Light-skinned kids. This went crazy, and let's show you real quick how crazy it went. So I just put in his name. He played for the Chargers.
Jaleel Ade. There you go. Jaleel Ade.
And you see another black woman here complaining about it. It's a white guy. Look, he's there. Over there. Another black woman talking about it. No one's there. See a black guy talking about it. There's another black woman talking about it. Let's see what else. Any more people?
Let's move on.
But this isn't the first time. If you think about it, I know Michael B. Jordan was seen out on a boat with some white girls. Omar Hardwick from Power was seen with some white girls, and now we have Joel Habib. So let's do the math. How many people do you think that is? How many people do you think that is? That's 1, 2, 3, 4 that we know of. 4. Joel Habib, 1. Michael B. Jordan.
Let's
two,
just end. Oh yeah.
Omar Hardwick is 3, and then Jahil Ade. That's 4. That's 4. Just remember that number 4, okay? So that's 4. But out of those 4, I mean, you would think it's just everyone's doing it. Everyone's doing it. So let me show you somebody that's doing it, but doesn't get any slack for it. Any slack, but it doesn't even crap for it. And the person that is Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick, wife, girlfriend, whatever, is not black. She's Egyptian.
Oh.
He gets a pass, and we know why he gets a pass because he took a knee in the. He got good hair, by the way. That's not nappy black hair like me and most black people. But as you see, he gets a pass because his wife. He gets a pass because he supports the black community. He took a knee, black ball, so he can get past. Certain people in the NFL, certain black people that are celebrities or actors can get a pass if they, apologize, really support black causes. They get a pass, so he gets a pass. But if he wasn't probably taking a knee and out here, he would be on that list.
Well, let's stop it there quite quickly, and then we're gonna wrap up. Yeah, Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick is, of course, a man who took a knee, and one of the leaders of the 2020 movement for racial equality and for the end of police brutality against black men. And he's dating an Egyptian girl. Now, again, the Egyptian girl is African, so we can make her relax that. But they'll call her not black. They'll call her not black simply because she doesn't have as much melanin as a lot of black people do. But it's a shame because she is African enough. It's not as if she's not, and quite simply, I think she agrees to a pass. But let's getting back to that one little comment, and then we're going to wrap up here. Getting back to that one comment in which Jalil Adai was calling for more. Well, let's let him talk.
Cheers to more light-skinned kids. Cheers to more light-skinned kids. Really, cheers to more light-skinned kids.
I'm going to stop it there, and we're going to wrap up. Black women, do you want this to be your future? I'm asking you. Do you want more light-skinned kids out there? Do you want to be second choice for a lot of men? Do you want to be second choice to your black men? Do you want to be second choice to your black athletes? Continue down the road you're walking, parading down right now. Continue. Do as you're doing right now. Don't change a thing. Don't change one thing if that's the case. Because I'll tell you, the tide isn't turning anymore. From passport bros to high value men to black athletes. The tide isn't turning anymore, ladies. Black women, I'm talking about here. Black women in the developed world, I'm talking about here. Because you got a lot of black women in many parts of the world, in the developing world, who have the mindset of a woman who wants to be a wife. But a lot who don't. Especially in the developed world. They don't. So continue as you will. Start listening to girls as players too. Keep listening to that. Keep Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion and Glorilla and all these modern female artists as your heroines. Keep doing it. And see where it gets you. Because as the stats already shown, 1 in 4 black men are starting to date interracially these days. 1 in 4. And it's only getting worse. Where women are dating interracially at an 8% level, black men at a 24% level. Make that make sense. Make it make sense. Ladies, I've always advocated for it, and now you see the results. If you are not getting yourself into some sort of feminine training, or if you do not have a mother in your life who will show you how to be feminine, or some sort of role model, feminine role model in which to follow, you're losing the race. You are losing. Black athletes are showing you they are getting on boats without you. Without you. And it is up to you to make the change. My black lady here has already said it. If you are unwilling to change, men are voting with their feet to get that peace, to get that sex, sandwich, and silence they're looking for. And if you're not willing to provide it, and if you want to be pedestalized, you're going to be alone for a while. A long while. And instead of getting superior standard, you're going to get substandard men coming after you. It's coming. Thank God my woman is none of your sort. Thank goodness. But I pray that you will see the light of day and you will ameliorate your attitudes, your stereotypical ways, your modus operandi, and come to the light. There's a black man who loves black women telling you this. One man did. He wore a suit and glasses, but you complained about his tone. And you danced on his grave. And he only wanted the best for you. And now he's gone. So now what will you do? Knowing the tide is against you. Thank you very much for joining us on Talk Talk Live. We're going to end it here. We're going to come back tomorrow with another show. We've done nearly 2 hours tonight. Thank you to my sponsors, Duntalk, DUNTALK.com. Spring Summer Line out now. And it is a great Spring Summer Line. Link in the description below. And go check them out because they are doing great things. And thank you for the new membership. We're getting new memberships every day. We're getting our views up. I'm going to spend some time this weekend because it was Easter weekend and I was spending it with family. And we're going to spend some time this weekend trying to get our, a bit of our shorts up on YouTube and also on Instagram and also on TikTok. I have wasted enough time on that and I am going to bring those up. And of course, there'll be new things coming along the way. And I wish you a great week. Here in Toronto, it's going to be an excellent week. It's going to get up to like 22, 23 degrees. We're going to get a preview to summer this week, which I cannot wait. I cannot wait to be around. But again, thank you for joining me on Talk Talk Live on this episode of, why black athletes are choosing white women. Fleshed it out, and I hope that you are the wiser for it. And we'll see you tomorrow night. Thank you very much for joining me, and we'll speak to you soon. And if you talk, walk the walk. And shout out to all the people who said hello to me at the Revelers band launch. All right? I will speak to you soon. See you tomorrow. Good night from Toronto. And to my viewers here on YouTube, we've reached the 2-hour level, and thank you very much for joining me on this controversial issue on Talk Live. We had to get our feelings out there, and quite simply, I hope you black women were listening, and hope that you will learn from this and make that little change in your lives that will hopefully lead to your benefit. And we'll be back tomorrow night for a new show. And if you talk, walk the walk, and we'll speak.